and we've been following this stock for a while, for a few weeks now, and we've been following the technicals, and we've been watching the technicals, and we've been trying to make trades based around it. Today we have a bullish technical setup that Andrew will talk about, and we're going to look at his trades, and we're going to look at some potential trades with some various option strategies um, based on the bias that he came up with his technical analysis with. Andrew, you there?
Yeah, I am. Hi, Mike.
Hey. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and hop over to your screen.
Okay, I'll start sharing. Let me know when you're seeing it.
All right. Go ahead.
So we've been watching Chipotle for a while, a couple of weeks or what, and I just want to do a quick look at the long term. What we've been seeing is watching this come down to a long-term support. It goes way back, 2010 and before. You can see it's an expanding wedge. So we're back down at long-term support. If we come over to the daily quick, we had a touch of that support and a bounce off it, and so I've been watching to see what the pattern would be and if we'll get a break from it. We were looking at it last week or the week before when there's an earnings play, and I declined to take that trade, although we have had some movement as I expected, and what we were watching for was an ABC. So we've had an ABC or a 3-wave count, and you can see that it's actually in a channel.
What's an ABC?
An ABC, that's a consolidation 3 waves. It's 3 to 5 waves are usually normal consolidations, usually 3 waves, and so we've now had 3. And as you can see, it's an Elliott wave. It's called Elliott wave theory, and we have an A, B. So we're now on the third C, and they've been about the same days. This is about 5 days down, 5 days up, 5 days down. And you see, what I'm now looking for is to see if this is support to hold, and we'll get a lift. And that lift could be in the next 3 days, pretty strong, similar to what we saw coming into it. So off the bottom here, we see 3 days, a nice strength and a strong lift. I'm now waiting for that to happen, and this is what I'm hoping to happen, what I'm trading for over the next 3 days to see if we get that lift again. And that should take us market up into here somewhere where I have a target where I'll be looking for. So I also want to take a quick look at that on the hourly and shorter time frame to see what I've been looking at in the trades I made today. When the market came down on the daily to this channel, it was about an hour ago, I took three positions, and that was here. It dropped since and it's come back up, so we'll see. Normally, for this exercise, I'm doing it right at this trade, but I haven't actually got a positive yet. For myself, I like to have this 13 broken, and that gives me a positive signal. Right now, it's still on a negative trend, and we could still see the market come down into here, which is fine. And if we actually does come down into here, I may take one more long position, or sell a short put actually, just to see what that does. And what I'm talking about is I'll quickly go over to my trader mob and show everybody what I've done. Is I took one long call right at the money at the time. The market was sitting around 437, so in and about. So I took a 437.5 call, and this is a 2 weeks. And then I also took one 20 points above that for about 450. So that's in and around running around here. If we get a lift, that call. So it's just slightly out of the money. And then the next one I took was really out of the money, and that's over at 470. And that's back up near this channel, not near the channel, but enough lift that if it goes up to the channel, I'll be in the money when it reaches it. And that's, again, we're looking at this green channel we've been talking about. So I took 3 different positions: one right at the money, one just outside the money, and one up near the top of the channel, and just outside at the top of the channel. The reason I did that is because I want to see which of these are going to perform better if I get my lift, and hopefully it goes into my target. Another reason I did that as a C is because the one that I bought, the 470 call, which I expect the market to move through, was only like $4, $370 when I purchased it, so $370 to take that position. Whereas the right at the money was $1,500 to take that position. So that's quite a difference.
Right.
And obviously my move has to go the way I want it. Otherwise, all of these will probably be worth, half or worthless. Nothing will happen with them at all if the market doesn't go in the way that I want it to. But if it does, I'm curious to see which one of these, the one that's in the money or the one that's really far out of the money, which is going to perform better, and what I'm better at odds at in the long run going for when I'm making these trades. So again, the move I'm looking for is support. We've started to see that, but it hasn't come in for sure yet. I'd like to see across the 13, and then the 34 on this is on a 13-minute scale. We should see a bounce up over the 34. And anybody who's watching and waiting for a larger move, I also like to see on a larger time scale the 34 up here broken. And all of these are trigger considerations for the larger move that I'm hoping for. Is going to be back up to our channel top, and then breaking through that and give us this move, which we'll see if that happens or not. And then from there, there's a potential to go higher, but there's also potential to see the market come back down and test. So right now, I'm in early, a little bit earlier than I would normally be, because I wanted to hit that channel and I see what happens. I'm getting some lift, so we'll see if that does. But like I said, if it does come down here, if we break in the next hour or so it comes down here, or tomorrow morning, I may actually sell a put just to see what that's like, expecting that lift to actually still have to occur that I was just talking about, just from a potentially lower target point. But anywhere in here, we should be seeing the lift, and I'm hoping for a move up into 500 by Thursday. So that's what I've traded for, Mike.
Cool. So that's interesting. I want to. I'm going to go ahead and hop over back to Trader Mob.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing.
You see my screen now?
I do, thank you.
Okay. So I like what I like about what Andrew was trying to figure out is that he basically, if I go to his portfolio here, let me go to his portfolio. He basically was taking 3 different options plays, and the interesting part is they were all one was out of the money, one was near the money, one was at the money, and obviously they're all going to be different prices. So he paid significantly different prices for each one. The 470 call being the cheapest, obviously, because it's most out of the money. Now, the result of this trade is going to be obviously highly dependent on how much Chipotle moves. So if Chipotle rallies in the next, what was your hoping by Thursday?
Up to 500.
So Andrew's looking for a 500, a rally back to the 500 area.
In the next 3 days.
Oh, what's happening in this chart here?
Technically, it's possible, so we'll see. At the very least, I'd like to see it come back up to that channel we were looking at.
Yeah,
and that's sitting around 480. So even if we only 488, 490. So even if I only get back to that top channel we were looking at that the current consolidation is in, that's 490. I want to see a break of that though, and I think we can go up over 500.
Okay, so these are, obviously these are generally very directional, aggressive strategies. They're all calls.
Oh, yeah. If I'm wrong, I'll probably end up with nothing.
They're all they're all calls, and well, here's the thing. So if he's wrong, if Andrew's wrong, obviously the closest, if Chipotle, so here's the analysis of what happens if Andrew is wrong. If Chipotle tanks tomorrow and the market continues to pull back and Chipotle drops another 5 to 10%, obviously the least amount of money that he spent will be the best trade, because if Chipotle tanks, all these will lose money. And if Chipotle never comes back for quite a while, these will start to lose value and decay, and it'll end up being that if the more wrong that the direction is, the better, the less he'll lose because of with the further out of the money call, because he paid up the least amount of money for it. So he only paid $3.70 right here for this call right here. And if Chipotle tanks tomorrow, which is possible, because look at the market, look what's happening today. I mean, the market's down 3%, the Nasdaq's down 3%. I mean, this is the second day in a row too, right? So to be honest, like nothing works in a market like this when everything's just falling like crazy. So let's say look at the worst case scenario, and let's say Chipotle tanks and he loses $3.70 times 100 for his options here. And if Chipotle tanks, he'll lose a lot more here, because he's paying $1,500 here for this one, and then $900 here for this one. So you have to think of all these different things when you're making a trade. He's like, how much? When I make a trade, I always ask myself, how much can I lose? if I'm wrong, if I'm dead wrong, and like if I'm, it's like I always think about that, and you have to, right? You have to. You never think about like, oh, if I'm right, how much will I, which one will make me more money? Instead of thinking which one will make me more money if I'm right, think of how little will I lose if I'm dead wrong.
I'm coming at I'm with you 110%, Mike, and I'm coming at that from both sides. And what I mean by that is, I want to know. Obviously, if I lose and everything's gone, I could say for the top one, I'm going to lose all of it, $1,500, because
Right.
it's a 2-week trade. So in the next 2 weeks, if nothing happens, doesn't go my way, I'm going to lose all of it, 1,500. However, and the other one, I'm going to lose the 370. However, if it does go my way, how much is that 1,500 going to turn into compared to how much that
Yeah.
400 is going to turn into?
And
So
that's
I got to
tough.
compare
Yeah.
compare the 50. So I'm going to lose 1,500, but am I actually going to make enough? Like, is it all around? Is the 400 one going to end up being better because I'm going to lose less, and then if it goes in my direction, I'm actually going to make more percentage wise on the game,
Right.
as opposed to the one in the call at the money, right in the money. I got a chance to lose a whole bunch more. And even when it goes my way, I'm going to make money, but not as much as if I got out of the money, based on because I had a smaller size to begin with. So that's really what what I'm looking at here to see what happens. I
And
know how much the maximum loss is going to be, but I want to see what they compare that to be what the maximum gain could be too.
I mean, there's so many things to look at. It's really, to be honest, it's really hard. It's like it's kind of overwhelming to think about it, all the different scenarios and what
Sure.
happens in each scenario. So that's why we're using Trademob, right? We're using Trademob so we can actually see the results because you can't track this stuff in your head. And if you want to use a spreadsheet, go ahead, but it's going to be a mess. So, and I mean, Andrew did mention that he may lose all of. It's true that he could lose all of this call, but you have to remember this call, this 437 and a half call, it's actually in the money by $3, right? So um, roughly $3. So like that means if Chipotle were to stay here, he would have at least $3 worth of value, intrinsic value in these calls. So there's so many things to look at. He may not lose all of this, but if Chipotle rallies like 5%, he may not get a bigger bang on his return because this is already in the money. And then you ask yourself, what if I just bought the stock, right? So let's just do that. Let's go to so Andrew is testing out out of the money calls versus in the money calls versus near the money calls, and I'm going to go ahead and test out. Um, I will test out two things for today. I'm going to make a trade on. I'm just going to buy the stock. So if we were to make a trade today, if there's a bullish indication that we were going long Chipotle today, Andrew's got three different calls on. You bought one, right?
Yeah, I just bought one of each.
Okay. So he bought one call. Remember, one option controls 100 shares. So to attempt to try to compare apple to apples, we'll buy 100 shares. We'll buying stock to compare to multiple long calls. Performance. All right, so we'll just buy this now, and we'll check this out. We'll check back in the next, when Andrew comes back and says one of his technicals are reached, or he stopped out, or any of those scenarios, we'll come back and we'll look at these and compare them and compare the results. And in this portfolio, what I'll do is I'll sell a put. Let's go ahead and sell a put now. So Andrew bought long calls, three of them, out of the money, near the money, slightly in the money. We bought stock, and now I will sell a put. Let's sell a put. Let's say, when do yours expire, Andrew? What
2
expiration?
weeks. Um,
18 days, I think you chose.
yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Okay.
Uh,
February, right? Yeah, probably
yeah, February 19th. February 19th.
okay, probably the 18 days. So he
It's actually 11 day.
11 day. Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. 11 days. So he bought three calls, different calls that are expiring in 11 days. So what I'll do is I will sell it's kind of silly to buy a super out of the money put because we know it's got like a 95% chance of not expiring worthless. Because that's not what we're trying to prove here. It would be silly for me to just go out here all the way to like, 300 or something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it kind of interesting, right? And I'm going to say, Let's just go slightly. Let's look at Chipotle here. Let's sell a put. Let's just sell a put at the last support level, which is 400. 400. That's a good one. And 11 days, 400. I get 460 of credit. If I look at this 11 days, this number is days expiration. I'll do the 400, 11 days. I will sell. Okay, that's 3. Let's get a little more juice. Let's try to pull in a little more premium and go 420. Sell that for about $690 worth of premium. To compare performance to stock and long calls going bullish on CMG. All right, and we'll submit that. All right, so now I'm in a CMG position. I already have some trades here, which I forgot about. So I just sold the 420 put. So this is my trade right here, the 420 put that I have on CMG. So we'll come back and look at that and see how that does in comparison to all Andrew's trades. And now remember the options versus stocks page will be tracking all these to all Andrew's trades. And now, oh shoot, hold on. Remember sorry about the double echo there. This is the actual page where we're doing the live streaming. So, so now all these trades that we entered will be tracked on this page, and we're going to look at these and update and give updates about them and talk about which one did better, why it did better, which one would have did better, which one would have, which one saved you money by being wrong. The whole goal of these comparisons are to eventually look at them and say, well, I like this strategy. I like going with this strategy because it actually lost me less money because I was wrong, and this one was kind of a little more too risky for me, or this one didn't give me enough bang for buck. He may have chosen an option that actually maybe not returns as much as he thought it would because of implied volatility changes, or based on the stock price movement. So we'll look at all this stuff and then we'll talk about it, and we'll see. We'll try to help you decide which strategies will work best, and given a certain bias using options, and it'll help you kind of decide the next time you want to go bullish on something or the next time you want to go bearish on something. Hopefully the goal here is to kind of give you a little tool set of different things you can try, different strategies that you can use to kind of figure out what's best for you and what you like the best. All right, so we're gonna stop now, and then we're gonna come back to this trade again in the near future. The next time CMG hits some kind of what would you call it, Andrew? Like the next time we have
the next
target?
Significant technicals. Yeah, the next significant technicals. Like I'm hoping to hit the top of that channel, and when it gets there, I'll probably wait to see if it breaks through. I'll be watching to see if it holds it and reverses, or if it breaks through, and that'll be my next technical at the top of that channel. But the next couple days.
And when it gets to the next technical, when it does get to the next technical, you're going to determine at that moment whether it would make sense to either close those trades out or keep them on, or maybe right. You basically reevaluate your position at that point, right?
Exactly, to see what's going on. I mean, I'm hoping if I get to the next, which is the top of the channel we're talking about, and as I said, there's a chance for it to actually push up through that. So if that happens, that's what I'll be watching at the channel to see if it looks like it's going to continue on, or if it's going to reverse off it and give us another back down. But technically speaking, we could have a nice lift like we did initially, and that's what I'm watching for. So.
Okay. Well, I hope you're right, because I actually have real money in Chipotle right now. And,
okay. Well, good luck with that. Yeah, really.
I've been long for a while. I've been long for a while now, so I'm hoping to get some of my money back on that. All right. So we're good for today, and we'll be back with an update on this in the near future.
All right. Thanks,
all right.
Mike.
See ya.